international metal.
Hey everybody, it's VH1's 100 greatest hard rock songs of all time, and this is it. Your choices for the top 20 biggest, most badass in-your-face tunes of all time. Buckle up. Let's get started with number 20.
In the crowded world of 1986 pop metal, Bon Jovi stood head and shoulders above the rest. And with their first number one hit, You Give Love a Bad Name, they proved that heartthrobs could kick ass, too.
It's a song which has every element, the riff, the lyrics, the whole vibe. It's fantastic.
What makes You Give Love a Bad Name so awesome is the huge chorus.
When Jovi first hit it, guys like Bon Jovi, and then all of a sudden the girls are like him because like Jovi's hair and like what he's hiding in his pants.
John Bon Jovi was that kind of guy that you just wanted to take home to your mom. Of course, your mom wanted to do him too, which got awkward.
Today, John's an actor, the owner of the Philadelphia Souls, and of course a rock star. His group remains a gigantic draw 25 years into their career. They make it look so easy.
Everybody underestimated Bon Jovi. Nobody guessed they would still be one of the world's biggest rock bands 20 years later.
Bon Jovi, and come on, these guys have been rocking out for how many years, and You Give Love a Bad Name, it was freaking and still is.
Adding synths and spacey effects to guitar-driven rock, Toronto's Rush found their signature prog-tastic sound, and it was never put to better use than 1981's Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer is a great hard rock song for one simple reason, that's Rush rules. You've never seen so much musical talent in three dudes. Geddy Lee is singing, he's playing bass, he's playing keyboards, he's playing foot pedals at the same time.
And they have all these instruments going at one foot, and I think he's standing there playing the bass, and you just hear, like, where is that sound coming from?
There were a handful of bands with that kind of progressive rock style that would take you on these musical adventures, and I think all Rush songs are like that.
Tom Sawyer is the ultimate air drum song.
3 decades after Tom Sawyer, the 50-somethings of Rush are busier than bands half their age. Their newest, Snakes and Arrows Live, came out in 2008, and touring's never stopped.
These guys have left behind such an incredibly huge body of work that you almost need a separate iPod just for your Rush collection.
It's a big party.
They came from Germany with power chords, wind machines, and unrelenting Germanness. And in 1984, the Scorpions found their musical perfect storm with Rock You Like a Hurricane.
I love Scorpions.
Well, Scorpions were really the first big orange band who just captured that kind of European attitude.
To have a chance to really have a global audience, it's amazing. Might be in Siberia or in Idaho, and people go, rock you like a hurricane, baby.
Rock You Like a Hurricane is just a great metaphor for everything that kicks ass.
I mean, that's fantastic. It's a genius.
Today, the song can still be heard in sports stadiums and the muscle cars of dudes suffering midlife crises. As for the Scorps, together since 1965, they still tour the U.S. metal circuit and are officially German rock legends.
Who would have thought we would still be there after all these decades? Last year we played almost 100 shows all over the world. We still enjoy this so much, rocking you like a hurricane, baby.
What do you wanna do with your life? I wanna rock!
In 1984, Twisted Sister had heads banging from coast to coast with their Metal Manifesto. A metal festo, if you will. I Wanna Rock.
I want to rock. It's an anthem, and anthems are so glorious.
I wanna rock. It's the ultimate battle cry for headbangers throughout the ages. It was for me. When I walk down the streets to this day, as I'll pass, it's, I wanna rock! I'll just throw the horns and keep walking.
Soon, the band's style drew fire from the Parents Music Resource Center, forcing Dee to defend his tunes in front of a Senate committee in 1985.
I'm tired of running into kids on the street who tell me that they can't play our records anymore.
Dee Snider wore the tightest jeans ever. That had to be the first time that they saw someone's bulge in Congress.
Twisted Sister split 2 years later, so Dee guest starred on a bunch of reality shows, became a horror film director, and started working as a radio DJ.
Welcome to Fangoria Radio, everybody.
But now Twisted Sister is back. In 2006, the guys put out the holiday-themed Twisted Christmas album and turned it into an annual stage show.
Twisted Sister's going to become a Christmas band. I would have punched you in the face if you said that 25 years ago.
Santa, I wanna rock.
The bad news is we look like Asian drag queens on stage. The good news is we always look like Asian drag queens. So nothing's changed.
Okay, here it is. The Sweet 16 are coming your way, but you're going to have to stick around to find out what they are.
Coming up.
Hey, I'm Brett, and we are headed for crunch time right here on the 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs. Next up, number 16, it is a rock and roll classic, courtesy of Kiss.
Clad head to toe in spandex, studs, and kabuki makeup, the ever-scary Kiss kept it sweet and to the point with 1975's Rock and Roll All Night.
You know this one. This song's what rock and roll is all about.
What I love about the Jam is that it's just a celebration of a good time and a great musical structure.
When I first saw them when I was a little boy, they scared the out of me. But my favorite song was Rock and Roll All Night. I didn't know that was Kiss. This is the dude that spits blood. I go, how can that be? Like,
30 years later, original Kiss members Ace Frehley and Peter Criss are gone, but Paul Stanley and newly minted reality star Gene Simmons remain. Now, in their mid-50s, they still don the makeup for devoted fans.
I don't know that song will ever go away because it speaks to rock and roll. That's the essence of rock and roll. That's why people dig it. They want to party all night.
Who doesn't want to rock and roll all night and party every day? Come on, go party.
In 1989, LA's baddest gang of hard rock degenerates, Motley Crue, scored their biggest hit with a song about what they knew best: drugs, drugs, and more drugs.
That's a heavy song. It's got a really heavy. The production is insane. I mean, it's still, I think, one of the best sounding rock records I've ever heard.
Mick Mars came up with the riff. The term Dr. Feelgood came as soon as he played it. We nailed it on that song.
They were pretty far into their career, but then all of a sudden here they come with this wicked record.
Though the Crew had been messed up for most of their career, they were stone cold sober when they recorded Dr. Feelgood, but it was just a brief pit stop in the saga of the Crew.
These guys could rock and party and fight and it's all been documented.
It's interesting, you know, this band, we've just kind of always had these little different peaks, you know, like different paths.
The The band splintered in the mid-90s, but they just couldn't stay apart for good. And in 2008, the original lineup released the first new crew album in over a decade.
It's a great album. It's all rock and roll, and it's really worth the wait.
So besides touring, recording, and living up to Dr. Feelgood's legacy, what's left for the band now?
Right, break up, get back together, break up, get back together. Another record, another tour. And then the plane has to go down. We got to make history. We got to really go out in a blaze of glory.
Thanks to its hand-cramping guitar riffs and the banshee wail of Bruce Dickinson, 1982's Run to the Hills cemented Iron Maiden as monsters of Brit metal.
Run to the Hills was a great track for Iron Maiden because it really put them at the forefront of what was going on in the music scene.
Everything about it is impossible. It's impossibly fast. The bass playing will give you tendinitis. The chorus has such high notes, it's impossible to hit them accurately.
Bruce had an amazing voice, and it really just completed what Iron Maiden was to become.
With the support of their insanely loyal fans, Maiden's made a dozen more studio albums since Run to the Hills, and each one has the band's mascot Eddie on the cover.
Eddie was the alter ego that could express humour, aggression, and adolescent angst, if you like. You could get all that out in Eddie.
That's all you need for a 14-year-old kid. He doesn't care what the music is. Get the Carpenters, put Zombies on their albums, we'd all be Carpenters fans.
Now, in his early 50s, singer Bruce Dickinson's become a fencer, author, and airplane pilot, all while still fronting Maiden, who, by the way, keep packing arenas the world over.
Maiden was always going to be about going out and touring and grabbing people the old-fashioned way, which is you build a following.
The music still holds up. I listen to it and I still enjoy it. It doesn't sound dated to me. It sounds cool.
With their 1983 hit Photograph, Def Leppard injected hard rock with a dose of UK power pop.
Def Leppard redefined the formula that was heavy metal.
I've loved the band forever, and to see that Leppard having such great success in the 80s was amazing.
Photograph was one of the first songs that really combined its super commercial sound and still kept its guts.
We're a rock band, and we've always tried to kind of introduce like melody into our song and stuff. So it's not just thrashy, there's a bit of a hybrid, if you like.
Def Leppard only got bigger, and when the 80s ended, they were one of the few hard rockers left standing. In 2008, they set out on a world tour to support their 10th record, Songs from the Sparkle Lounge.
Someone asked me when I was like 29, how long are you guys going to go for? I don't know, about 35 is the cut-off point, right? And I'm 50 now, and I actually can't see a stop.
It was just a great collective ambition in this band. We want to be up there with the Stones and Zeppelin. We want to be that big.
Holy crap. We are getting close. Only the 12 greatest songs in hard rock history are left, and they might just break your brain.
Coming up, Judas Priest.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hey there, true believers. This is VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs, and I'm your rock and love super host, Mr. Brett Michaels. We're all the way down to number 12, and it's about time for a little Judas.
If you were a true 80s metalhead, odds were you worshipped at the altar of the almighty Judas Priest. And the band's gospel? 1980s Breaking the Law, of course.
Hard rock, Judas Priest, man.
Who doesn't love Judas Priest? They're like one of the godfathers of rock and roll.
Breaking the Law is just a real teenage angst kind of anthem with a very infectious riff.
If Judas Priest hadn't done Breaking the Law, somebody else would have. but we broke it first.
While the leather and chains might have been a clue, in 1998, frontman Rob Halford became one of the few reigning metalheads to come out of the closet.
Finding out Rob Halford was gay was shocking for about 15 seconds. You just look at every one of the posters you had and go, oh yeah.
It's a personal journey, and one I needed to make.
Rob left the group in 1992 to experiment with other music and was replaced by a Priest tribute band singer, Ripper Owens. Halford rejoined Priest in 2003. 5 years later, the group released a concept album about Nostradamus and hit the road in support.
You've got to go out there and do 1,000% every night, and I think that's what Judas Priest has done since the first show we ever played.
When it comes to hard rock riffs, there's one that rules them all. Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water.
Arguably the most played riff in history.
What a great combination of notes.
Pretty good, right?
You kind of got this disco hi-hat thing and the heaviest rock guitar riff. Every time you hear that song, you crank it up.
Released in 1972, Smoke was inspired by a fire at a Swiss nightclub where Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention were playing. Deep Purple was staying at a hotel across Lake Geneva and watched the place burn down.
About halfway through the gig, someone shot a flare gun up to the ceiling. Within about 10 minutes, the place was ablaze. So somehow the idea was born, why don't we write just a thing burning down?
Deep Purple's pulling into their 5th decade these days, even though founding member Richie Blackmore is playing with his own group, Blackmore's Nights. Meanwhile, Smoke on the Water remains a phenomenon. In fact, in 2007, 1,683 guitarists set a world record by playing it together in Kansas City.
There was a Smoke on the Water day in which all these people played that riff together on guitar. It's pretty cool.
Riding Britain's new wave of heavy metal, Motorhead were loud, fast, and seriously in your face, not unlike 1980's Ace of Spades.
Ace of Spades is not as nasty and hardcore as it gets.
Spades. Motorhead created this bonnet metal,
There's a beautiful guitar look. It's got that voice. It just reaches out and grabs you.
Ace of Spades is a heavy metal song, but it has the spirit and unabashed abandon of punk.
You shut your eyes and say what? Okay. I mean, you're trusted at most punk bands anyway.
Lemmy Kilmister is a legend in my book.
He's the real heavy metal king.
When you look up rock and roll in the dictionary, you should have a picture of Lemmy. He's living, breathing rock and roll.
Lemmy's an icon off stage, too. In 2006, he ranked 8th on Maxim Magazine's list of living sex legends for betting a reported 1,200 plus ladies.
Well, I used to be very busy, you see. I'm 62. I've never been married, you see. Since I've been 16, I've been running around, so it's not outside the realms of possibility, is it? Should have been in 2000, shouldn't it?
In his spare time, the band's sole original member keeps Motorhead going with new music, new tours, and zero plans to retire.
Well, dropping dead would be a good time to stop, I guess. God's way of telling you to slow down, dropping dead.
the most popular and groundbreaking band to emerge from LA in the late 70s. Van Halen became instant rock icons with their dark and rebellious debut single, Running with the Devil.
I live my life like this, now tomorrow.
Anybody who was around in 1978 will tell you that the biggest thing that ever happened to music was Van Halen.
Nothing was as unique or original as Eddie Van Halen with David the Rock.
The first time I experienced Van Halen was at a TED Nugent concert. He stupidly recruited a very young Van Halen to be his opening band. Basically, the audience had been blown away. I went out the next day and bought the first Van Halen album.
For the next 6 years, Van Halen couldn't lose. They dropped 5 multi-platinum albums. Then, in 1985, frontman David Lee Roth left the band and was replaced by Sammy Hagar. After a long, often bitter absence, Roth returned for a 2007 Van Halen tour. With a new addition, Eddie's son Wolfgang on bass.
There's nothing like the old classic Van Halen. Dave's singing better than he did back in the day. Eddie played great, and Alice on drums a monster. Eddie and Dave together, it's like a gasoline and fire. Awesome. That's what made Van Halen so great. Just a kick-ass rock band.
We are getting so close to that #1 song. Hang with us. The best of the best are just ahead.
Coming up, Metallica delivers a guitar line that'll go down in feature.
Hey, we're in the top 10 now, and it's all killer, no filler. This next song is Aerosmith's calling card. It rocks just as much today as it did 30 years ago. Walk This Way.
It was naughty, raunchy, and still totally freaking sweet. 1975's Walk This Way, a blues rock work of art by Boston's own Aerosmith.
Walk This Way was a great summation of what Aerosmith had been doing for quite a few years. Great rhythmic intensity, great riffs.
I wanted to play something that was a little funky, so I just started playing and it came out.
It is one of the most brilliant 3.5-minute rock and roll songs. Like very sexy.
Walk This Way is all about sex in such an ingenious way. Down on a muffin.
Sales slowed in the early 80s, but the group bounced back in 86 when they teamed with Run DMC on a rock rap remake of Walk This Way.
We really weren't sure how it was going to turn out. We were just as strange to them as they were to us. And they just played the riff and they rapped and all three started going at it.
After that, Aerosmith was back in the saddle. Now, nearly 40 years after they began, the band's being discovered by a new generation of rock fans thanks to 2008's Guitar Hero Aerosmith game featuring tunes like Walk This Way, of course.
Aerosmith is such a legendary hard rock band, they get their own Guitar Hero.
It's new technology. And it's just another way that people are filling the void to get new music. I think it's great.
Back in 1991, Nirvana tapped into adolescent angst, merged punk with classic rock, and altered the course of music forever. Not bad for one song.
It's a great song to explain how important Nirvana was. Kurt Cobain was the greatest songwriter of my generation. It was an answer to a stagnant 80s scene. So people were ready for something. It was just the right time. I mean, something did happen.
You know, it opened up a can of worms that effectively knocked us off our perches as well because it was the beginning of grunge music. I always thought it was great. There you go.
It was that teen spirit with pure expression. Some people, oh, it was angry and it was that.
It was just expression.
After frontman Kurt Cobain's suicide in 1994, drummer Dave Grohl formed the Foo Fighters, while Chris Novoselic became bassist for the band Flipper and a Washington state politician. And though Nirvana is long gone, their influence is still felt throughout rock.
Nirvana coming on, and it was real all of a sudden. It was something kind of exciting and dangerous, and that's really what rock and roll should be about.
Off the Who's 1971 classic, Who's Next? Won't Get Fooled Again was an already legendary rock band at their absolute creative peak.
Won't Get Fooled Again. Definitely one of the most important songs, one of the most important bands.
To me, that record represents total advantage, which is what rock is about.
From the moment it starts, I'm right there. Turn the radio, so Won't Get Fooled Again. So powerful on such a simple level. They've got it all.
I love the way Keith Moon used to beat the crap out of his drum set.
For me, being a bass player, all I can say is Johnny Wilson, Johnny Wilson.
The reason I play guitar is because of Pete Townshend's
That windmill thing with Townsend is one of the most powerful things you ever see on the stage.
I still can't windmill like he does without breaking my thumb.
Like Adultery, it's the greatest. I mean, God, you have this guy with this incredible voice, and when he broke into that scream.
The Who kept rolling up to 1978 when drummer Keith Moon died of an overdose. They recorded for a few years after that, but mostly stuck to touring until John Entwistle's 2002 passing. In 2008, remaining members Daltrey and Townsend embarked on a massive tour. But in case you missed it, the band's songs can regularly be heard everywhere, from Hummer commercials to the opening montage of all 3 CSI shows.
You hear it on CSI all the time, and it still gets me going. They were having fun, but they had something to say. That's one of the bands that will always influence everybody that will ever be involved with rock and roll.
By 1991, San Francisco's Metallica already had 4 classic metal records and a huge headbanger following. Then came Enter Sandman, and the rest of the world finally caught up.
It's one of those riffs of all time, and you recognize it immediately.
That riff doesn't care what you're doing. You're making a sandwich, put it down. This rock is coming in. You owe it.
Enter Sandman by Metallica for many of their fans was when they crossed over and they went commercial. I said,
It just shows how you can take the sensibilities of what heavy metal's all about and turn it into basically a top 40 song without selling yourself out.
The video for Enter Sandman scared the out of me, okay?
I had this kid getting chased by a truck and effects that give you epilepsy, legitimately really freaky.
And then, if it's not bad enough, cut to an old guy in a bathtub. That's Sandman. He'll be entering soon. Sleep with one eye open.
After 20-some-odd years of rock supremacy, Metallica is still touring the world and dropping new material. Their 9th studio album, Death Magnetic, came out in 2008 and debuted at #1.
What they've done for metal has been amazing. Where Sabbath left off, Metallica took the torch, and they're still holding it. No one's taking it from them.
That song just makes me want to break something. We're all set to reveal the biggest hard rock songs ever.
Hi, I'm...
This is VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs, and we're getting dangerously close to the big finish. Next, it's a true rock masterpiece from the gods of metal.
When Black Sabbath unveiled Paranoid in 1971, they weren't fooling around. The tune was dark, frightening, and pretty much the beginning of heavy metal.
pioneers of metal. And Paranoid was one of those jams. It was like I was being rocketed into hell and burning fires, and I loved it.
Everybody was sick of that hippie crap. They wanted something dark and more meaningful.
It was the heaviest single that I ever heard on the radio.
I've always said the best part of any band that I've ever been with is the first part of the album, because you've got nothing to lose. We were in the studio at the time doing the album, and made another track. The single, to be honest, was just a lot. It's only come up with a riff, and I scribbled down the lyrics. We did.
Ozzy left Sabbath in 1979 to kickstart his solo career and was replaced by Rainbow singer Ronnie James Dio. Today, Dio and the band of 60-somethings have been hitting the road as heaven and hell, although occasionally the Ozzy Sabbath lineup reunite to kick out their seminal smash.
He's still as good today as he ever was. There's something to be said about a good song.
It's nice to be known for something and be remembered for it. It's great for me.
Same for me, yeah.
They reworked an old blues song and busted hard rock wide open. Led Zeppelin with the first song on their second album, 1969's Whole Lotta Love.
I really feel like they'd arrived. A whole lot of love is like, we're here.
Hayden took an amazing arrangement, made it a unique piece of work, and nobody had heard anything like that at that time.
You didn't hear powerful rock bands doing anything so simple, straight ahead, and stripped down.
It's got all the elements I love. Great guitar, great rhythm section, phenomenal chip beating Tarzan vocals.
Well, the Tragedies, it's just one of the greatest things of all time. They're sliding.
It's one of those songs that just take you on a journey. It starts in one place and just ends somewhere in left field.
I'd say Whole Lotta Love is the sexiest guitar riff ever. It's just hot, gets me worked up, for sure. Some people think this is my leg.
That continued revolutionizing hard rock up till drummer John Bonham's passing in 1980. The remaining three have only played a handful of times since, most recently in 2007 at a tribute concert for record exec Ahmet Ertegun.
They were so good. They were so dynamic. They were so energetic and so creative, and they jammed their asses off. The Mighty Zepp. There's nobody better than that.
After the 1980 passing of frontman Bon Scott, AC/DC's future was in serious doubt. Fortunately, they found Brian Johnson and soon paid tribute to Scott with the epic Back in Black.
Dear God in heaven, how did Angus find his son of a bitch? Brian Johnson, you're a man.
For Brian to step in those shoes, that was incredible. He sang on the most classic song of all time.
The whole album was so unbelievable, eh? Especially Back in Black. The song, it was like a wake-up call. We are back. I mean, bigger than ever. It was just the nastiest, groovinest, down and dirty rock song out there. And they have a vocal like, back in black! Young, old, black, white, green, everybody's singing it and loving it. That's why it connects. It's just badass and cool.
3 decades later, AC/DC continued to give the gift of rock. Their newest album, Black Ice, came out in October 2008 and was followed by a world tour. The band even just got their very own rock band game, AC/DC Live.
We've been pretty, I suppose, fortunate over the years that we just seem to manage. People seem to find us, like especially in the teenage kind. So we figure we must be doing something right.
Yeah.
AC/DC sets the bar for what I consider hard rock. There aren't any bands that can beat them.
That's 99. 99 tunes in the bag. All that's left is the greatest hard rock song ever. What is it? Well, you'll just have to stick around to find out. People, we have seen 99 contenders for the greatest hard rock tunes of all time, but they didn't quite have the goods for number one. So here it is, the song that you've been waiting for, the one that will melt your subwoofer, reduce your brain to a pile of ash, and leave you begging for more. The number one hard rock song ever. Check this out.
No band kicked late 80s ass quite like Guns N' Roses, and Axl, Slash, Izzy, Duff, and Steven never rocked harder than on their breakout hit, Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle, one of the greatest rock anthems of all time. It's got that mean guitar riff. It's the perfect rock song.
Welcome to the Jungle. It's one of those songs I kick myself for not writing.
All of who Axl Rose is in that song.
Axl, he's the best singer that ever lived.
There's a lot of silly hair metal bands kicking it around, and then when Guns N' Roses came out with that track, it was like, this is the real deal.
It was just all the guys could really play, and it was all about causing, you know.
They were just real, you know, and you could feel it. And every member of the band had like their own personality and their own vibe, and it was really special, and everybody knew it.
For me personally, it was just a band that had a lot of integrity, but I didn't know exactly where it was going to go.
They were at this point the greatest band in the world. It seemed like it would never end, and then it ended.
After the band split, Slash and Duff McKagan kept rocking in Velvet Revolver, and Axl toured with a new GNR lineup while prepping the long-awaited Chinese Democracy album. But despite going their separate ways, the original Guns N' Roses legacy lives on.
In my opinion, they really made one of the most significant records, and it changed things.
It's actually an honor to have been involved with it because it turned out to be something that was bigger than anybody in the band, I'm sure, even imagined.
Well, we have come to the end of our time together, my friend. Hey, we've kicked a lot of ass, started some fights, maybe even made a couple two-tree babies along the way. But that's rock and roll. And that's it for VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm Brett Michaels, simply reminding you to live long and never, ever stop rocking.